What's up, you guys? James Strickland here. Welcome to week 43 on my road to 700 pounds on bench press and my first week on my road to whatever at Boss of Bosses 6. So many of you know I've got a meet coming up in the end of August, Boss of Bosses in Mountain View, California at Boss Barbell Club. And if you've been following my journey, then you know that my bench press is still going up and I'm still working on some things, kind of backing off on the weight and bringing some of the technical issues in, working on the sticking point. As you've seen, I've got about 6 or 7 inch sticking point right off the chest. And we're backing the weight down just a little bit to really drill that sticking point and make it a strength. If you're just now tuning in, please like and subscribe this video and this channel, and you will see everything that I've got to bring for you guys. I hope it's entertaining. Hope it's, I'm bringing enough knowledge for you guys. If you have any questions, you can definitely reach out to me. I'm very open about my training and what I'm doing. And if I don't get back to you, it's not that I've forgotten about you. It's just it's probably taken me a while to answer some of the questions, but just keep hitting me up. I'll definitely answer it. So I'm going to go ahead and dive on in. As you can see, I am back home. I don't know if you can tell that I'm at home, but I'm definitely not in a hotel, that's for sure. I've been traveling the last couple weeks with some outside of lifting things. I do a lot of volunteer work with the schools and the PTA, and my wife and I are kind of travel around and we go to some of the conferences, and that's kind of what we've been taking care of the last couple weeks. But now I'm back home. Got a couple weeks, actually about 3 weeks or so, to train pretty hard and kind of get things going. We are ramping up squats and deadlifts like I mentioned last week. So pretty exciting lifts this week. I'm gonna go ahead and dive right on into the recap. All right, so day one, my bench day. Always start off with my warm-ups, just showing you guys. I also watch my warm-ups just so I know how I'm feeling. Plan for the day was to work up to about 635 or so, just to get some heavy weight, just to feel some heavy weight. 585 moved pretty good. No lift off, so a little bit hesitant to really put the pedal to the metal, but 615 just was being cautious there. It didn't really feel too heavy. Now this 635, I asked around quite a bit to see if I could get a lift off. It just wasn't there this particular day. I definitely have the safeties there, and I do recommend that you don't bench alone unless you are in a safety rack where at least you can lay the bar down and you're not going to be stuck underneath it. I can get out from underneath this bar at any time. So see how the 635 moves. As you can see, I'm taking a little extra time getting here. Here we go. Didn't pause it as long as I would have liked, but I definitely was being cautious. I didn't want to hold it too much longer than I needed to. I'm actually happy with that. My best self lift off with a pause is 650, done about a year and a half or so ago. But I got to do what I got to do. I was at this particular gym on this day and I didn't have anybody to work with, so I kind of worked in what I felt I needed to do. Okay, so this is a static hold, as you guys have seen me do. This is considerably less than obviously like the 750 or the 855 and some other ones that I've done. This is just to keep the CNS thinking a little bit. I don't want it to think that I've forgotten about it, that we're not still pushing towards 700. This is my working set of the day. This is 500 for 5 paused reps twice. Show you a couple different angles with this. I'm happy with the way this moved. I feel like, and this is my new grip, that I'm a little bit wider than the closer grip that you guys might have followed me on the last couple years. This is another angle for the second set. I feel really, really good and confident the way that 500 is moving. The plan should be to go up maybe to about 520 or so for the same set next week. And that's it. Now this is one accessory that I'm working on to deal with the sticking point. I set the pin up just a little bit too low on this first set, but it's 405, no big deal. And went ahead and racked it. That way I could set the pins a little higher. As you can see, this set is definitely a little bit higher than the last one. Made it a little bit easier to set it up. This is 495. And all you're doing is just pushing straight up. And you do it for a single, and you come back down. You reset after every rep. Now I was doing singles obviously, but if you were doing multiple reps, what you do is you reset after each rep. You don't touch and go because it's obviously not touching your chest. Worked up here, this is 545. This is fairly heavy for a dead press, obviously, but for 670 pound bench, this you could definitely get into the 600s. But this is the weak spot of mine, so that's why I'm working on it. Moving on, some seal rows here. This is an incline row basically. I couldn't set up with an actual seal row this week, but this is a very good alternative. Work on squeezing at the top, getting a good second or so pause. This is the IYT raises that you guys may have seen me do before. This is definitely a great shoulder workout. It doesn't take a lot of weight. This is, I think, 12.5 pounds here. So it's not intended to be done with 30 pounds, 40, 50 pounds. Even if you can do it, it's not meant for that. There's other exercises you can do that work on more weight. This is more of a maintenance mode. You're gonna feel it for sure, and if you don't, do a few more reps and you will. That's really the name of the game here, is the volume of it and not necessarily the weight. I put a dumbbell here in front of this bench so it doesn't slide all around as I'm putting my body weight on it. This is a tricep extension. I'm pronating up at the top there and just really working on hammering the triceps. This was programmed in as kind of a new exercise. You probably won't see me do it again. It was a little tough on the elbows. Not too harsh, but if I continue to get heavier, which we will with any accessory, typically, is I don't want to hurt the elbows going forward. Not to mention, since we are transitioning into a full power mode of training, I'm not going to be doing low bar, but squatting in general, just getting in position, typically puts a little extra stress on the shoulders and elbows, and I don't want to add any extra stress. So anything that I can do now to prevent issues later on, I definitely want to do that. This is some cable flies here. My chest is pretty fried from the main sets, so literally it doesn't take the whole stack to get me firing on all cylinders here. You can tell on my face, but I think I just showed the last set there. This is day 2. This is my heavy squat and deadlift day. This is where I felt like I really shined this week because I was let off the leash a little bit. This is my last warm up at 595. Very, very cautious regardless of the weight. I treat it like it can hurt you, because it can. Just getting a good internal brace here. Solid depth, and felt really, really confident about that. Working set today is a PR, 650 pounds for 2. Last meet prep where I did 705, my heaviest double was about 645, and it didn't move this fast. Very, very confident with how this moved, as you'll see. The biggest thing that I'm really focusing on is staying tight, bracing internally, keeping the knees safe, and then making sure that I hit depth, not a question. And I feel really good about that. I feel like I could have done several more reps of this, and I'm really confident that we can go up 25, 30 pounds or even more in the next week without it being too taxing. I would say that probably is like an RPE 8, mostly because I haven't held that kind of weight lately. This is a static hold, kind of a walkout, and this is 750 pounds. Set the safeties up, and as you can tell, pretty light, which is surprising considering this is 750 pounds. So decided that we were going to go ahead and drop those safeties down just a little bit above parallel depth, so that I would not feel the need to squat it, because I really felt like if mentally I felt like I could squat it, I was going to squat it, and I didn't want to take that chance. You got to know yourself, you got to know your mind, and you got to know when to draw the line. Muscularly, I am strong enough to squat 750 pounds today. Now, ligaments, joints, tendons have not held anything near this weight, and I just don't want to take that chance. So playing it smart. As you can see, I'm going to do a negative with this, And basically I just want to feel what it feels like. I want to feel the weight. I want to feel confident that I can handle it on the way down. I didn't see a lot of form breakdown, and as I hit the pins, you'll see in a second, I felt like I could have actually come back up with it. So safe to say I just let that thing go and live to fight another day, and I'm happy with that. This is my speed squat set, triples with 465. Speed squats, or speed anything, honestly, deadlifts and bench, is a hard transition for me typically, even if it's considerably less weight. It's just a different muscle fiber almost firing off. It just feels different. It didn't look bad. It felt off, but you always want to work on moving it as fast as you possibly can, just to work on those fast twitch muscle fibers. It's my warm-up here with deadlifts, doing the exact same, or doing legs, both squats and deadlifts on the same day. 585 warm-up moved fine. We've transitioned obviously into meet prep now, so there's no straps and no touch and go. Everything is paused. 655 here for 2. This is 5 pounds short of my PR with over-under grip. Obviously you've seen, if you've been following along, 715 for 2 a couple weeks ago with straps. That will be very much the case here in a few weeks. So just changing shirts here. It's the same day, literally about 5 minutes after I was done with squats, started warming up for deadlifts. For the time being, it feels like I can handle this. If for some reason I feel like I'm not getting enough rest and recovery, we may have to transition into a different approach. But I'm able to get a lot of volume in on my leg days, and then I get a good solid 6-7 days of rest for the next time. Felt really good about that. Solid reps, speed reps. The only thing that's really kind of messing with me is grip. We're going to be working on that. This is some speed deadlifts here, 515 for a couple sets here. But like I said, on grip, what we're going to be doing is some static holds, some just holding the bar itself. I strapped up for this set just so I could get the work in. The first set really tore my grip up. Suitcase deads is a good oblique exercise as well as grip. Hold it slight at the top. And really I'm just working on getting my calluses conditioned so that I'm not building up too fat of a callus, too thick, and I don't want it to be obviously too soft, and I don't want them ripping. So there's definitely some maintenance that goes into calluses. You see a lot of guys ripping their calluses. There is a way to prevent that. Day 3, my shoulder and upper accessory day. Some 180 pound lat pull downs to start it off. This was done on a Thursday, so I did get some extra rest. Really just did a 3-day workout this week, which works out well for the time being, as long as I can get the work in. Sharing squats and deadlifts on the same day frees up my Fridays to do some other stuff. This is my overhead press on a hammer strength with 205 pounds, basically the whole stack. I think I'm getting a little big for this machine, just kind of moving it around. I really didn't feel this set too much as far as fatigue, but really it's not for that. If we want to go heavy overhead presses, we can definitely put some weight on the barbell, and you guys have probably seen that in the past, up north of 365 or more. Moving on to some throat pulls with the rope. Fairly light, really just getting a good stretch and really just working that upper back, shoulders a little bit here. Traps as well. Some decline bench here just to get a little extra bench volume, and it's close grip, so we're definitely working some tricep here. Easy on the shoulders, so if you're looking to still get some more volume in, decline is a good alternative to flat bench to ease up on the shoulders a little bit. I use some dumbbells and a couple of things on the other side just to spot myself out, just in case I lost it. The barbell would not hit me in the neck. That's one thing I'm definitely concerned about with decline, is you're in a pretty precarious situation. So always be safe. A couple sets of that. I've got my fully extended dumbbell pullovers. Great for stretching out those pecs, getting some blood flow in there. It's not really meant to be a taxing exercise, as I've said before. You don't want to feel pain during this exercise. So if you do, you probably want to lighten it up considerably. You definitely want to feel a good stretch, and the weight is literally just there to help pull your arms back and hold them back and give you some assistance with the stretch. It's not really meant to be a muscle exercise. All right, so we got some leg press here. This is just get a little bit of leg volume in. It's supposed to be 500. The leg sled, I really don't trust the weight, so I threw an extra 40 or extra 25 on there just to make sure I was at least at 500. This is really not taxing at all. This is very, very easy. But like I said, my legs are still pretty sore and tight from my squat deadlift day. Lower back is definitely on fire. I don't want to mess that up too much. Got a little bit of leg curls here. It's the full stack, 205 pounds. Couldn't get any more weight on it. This is really just to work on a set of 5, as many as I could, or as much weight as I could get for a set of 5. My hamstrings are pretty easily stimulated. Doesn't take a lot of weight for me to feel that. This is some seated rows. This is as heavy as I could get for a set. So the first one I did the whole stack plus 25. The whole stack is like 210 pounds. I trust that cable about as much as I trust, well, I trust it enough. Let's just put it that way. I wouldn't do it if I didn't trust it. I did go ahead and slap on a 45, kind of rig it up a little bit so it wouldn't fall off, hurt anybody. And this still felt pretty easy. I think the total weight here was 255. I don't think I can get much more weight on it unless I put some chains or something. But just to kind of finish out some back work for the week. Show you guys how I rigged that up to where it's safe. I don't want it falling off mid-set, that's for sure. I could really throw things off, and I don't want somebody walking by and having a 45-pound plate knocking them in the ankle. That probably would break an ankle, or at the very least piss somebody off pretty bad. This is 140 pounds on tricep bar, and this is actually done a little bit different than you normally would see. This is actually 15 sets of 4, working on really just firing off and not really taxing it too much. You will start to feel it. I started to feel it probably around halfway, about 8 to 10 sets, and then finished it off. And that's just kind of a tricep finisher for the week. I did push off dips from my bench day just because triceps just didn't feel quite right. This is definitely a taxing exercise, so I went ahead and slapped it on the end of the week here and felt a lot better because of it. Still was able to get the work in and stay stable. It's really odd because the triceps are starting to really feel different because I'm doing a wider grip bench. It's not that much wider, but basically you guys have probably seen me do upwards of 290 to 300 pounds on weighted dips. Mind you, I was at a lower body weight, but it wasn't that much lower. It was probably 15 pounds lower body weight. But because I'm not utilizing my triceps as much in my bench press like I was a closer grip, it does take a toll. And so I will actually, I'm taking a hit on the dips. So you'll see me doing, like 170 pounds. And it's actually just about as hard to do that now, considering, let's say, 170 pounds plus my body weight being about 300, 305 on average. It's what, 470 pounds at the top when I've done 550 plus in the past with body weight plus, 300 or whatever. But the triceps just aren't conditioned like they were. And that's okay. That's where it comes into whatever accessories you're doing at the current moment should be benefiting you for the weight and for the main lifts that you're doing right now. Just because you did something in the past in a meet prep or working towards a certain goal doesn't mean you have to hit the same exact weight this time. And it means you may need a different stimulus for that particular weak spot. For example, if I'm not weak off the chest, I don't need to be working dead press. If I'm weak on my lockout, I don't need to be doing dead press, because I need to work on that specific area of the lift. If it's like deficit deadlifts, some people just program that into their programming just because they see other people doing it, but they have no idea why they're doing that. Pause squats are another one. Why are you doing the accessory work? So that's what you want to question in your own training. If your coach is just kind of throwing stuff down, or you're just following some program kind of blindly, you may not be going where you want and spinning your wheels. There's a method to every single thing I do. I'm not going to waste my time doing something in the gym if it's not moving me in the right direction. Now, it might be something like with bench, we're technically moving in the right direction by backing the weight down a little bit, working on some technical stuff, because in the long run, we are moving in the right direction. But in the short term, it may look like we're moving backwards. Sometimes you have to do that, and you have to regroup and kind of reanalyze why you're doing a certain thing. Is it really working for you? And obviously don't sell yourself short and stop doing something if you've only been doing it for a week and it feels like it hurts you. It might just be that you haven't gotten used to it. It could be that it's hurting you, but you want to really think of why you're doing stuff. But, that's kind of a recap for the week. There's not much more to show, but I'm very excited about squats and deadlifts. It's given me a chance to put the bench, not necessarily on the back burner, but really kind of on the front burner. I'm able to really focus in on it kind of in a different way and stay lighter, because the pressure's off. I can actually work on the weak spots. But now that we're not keeping squats and deadlifts in maintenance mode, I'm really able to see what we can do with that, what we can build up. And I've never really done this before, where we've had squats and deadlifts in a maintenance mode and then gone almost right into a meet prep. We're literally like 9.5 weeks out from bosses. So technically we're just jumping right into a meet prep. And so we're taking that maintenance mode and building up fairly fast with some triples and doubles, and then eventually singles, to see where squats and deadlifts might lay. And that's going to give me some time to obviously build a decent total. I've already got 2,100. I do not have a goal for this meet. I've got some ideas that are kind of floating around in my head, but honestly, I think my best bet for this meet is to not go in with any kind of preconceived notions, and just to go in, have fun with it, go for obviously PRs on everything, and just see where the cards lie afterwards. Regardless of what happens, the road to 700 on bench is still continuing. I'd be foolish not to keep trying. I'm closer than I've ever been. Things are just kind of, that's the way things go sometimes, is where if you achieve a goal right when you set out to make it, and it only takes you a month to get it, you're probably not going to appreciate it too much. And we're talking about a goal that 5 men on the planet in history have ever done. So it's not a light goal. It's not something that people just make up and then get to the next level the next day. But at the same time, when it comes down to it, a lot of you guys are looking at, myself being a 670 pound bencher and thinking I'll never get to that level, or you try to compare myself to you, or somebody else's 1,000-pound deadlift to your 700-pound deadlift, or your 300-pound deadlift, or whatever it is. And at the same time, I'm sitting here going, well, if I am at this level with bench and I'm at this level with deadlift and squat, if I actually put some work into it, like really put some work into it, is it potential that I could get to the same level or equal level or comparable? And I don't know. We'll see. We'll definitely have fun with it. But the thing is, I don't want to just go into the gym and bench all the time. That's just not my style. I used to do that. I kind of got tired of it. There's only so much benching you can do. For myself anyways, I just get tired of doing the same thing over and over and over again. But sometimes that's what's needed in order to get better. But this is my way of taking a break, almost as an active break. It's kind of like an active deload, if you will, where the weights are kind of back down a little bit. I'm still going in, I'm going through the motions, I'm working on a few technical issues, and when we're ready to ramp things back up again, they'll be there. And I'm not putting it out just yet. I would like to go ahead and make a goal just for bench for Boss of Bosses, which is go ahead and set that as the meet where I want to break 700 in a full meet. And I think that would be really, really fun to be able to say I've done a decent squat, a decent deadlift, and a pretty darn big bench. And at the very least, Ted Arcidi's record at 308 is 661. I think that would be a really, really cool record. It's an all-time record, and I do not have any of those, so I think that'd be a really good goal to set. But, I'm not going to hold myself to any particular thing. I'm just going to go and be safe in the gym, be smart, set my numbers out there, and just keep building on. And we'll see in a few weeks where we're at. I just want to stay injury free and stay smart about things. But I did get a couple of questions from you guys, so I want to go ahead and dive into those. I appreciate you submitting them, and I'm going to go ahead and jump on in. So first one is from Mike Ramos on YouTube, and has having young kids changed lifestyle and training approach? So basically, yes. So when I was single, and this is kind of an odd situation for myself because I didn't really start heavy weight training until after I was married and after I had a couple of kids, or at least one kid. And so I'm going to kind of back this up and think about, what was my training like with swimming or other sports before, kids were around. And yeah, I could definitely say, well, I'm going to go train for 4 hours over here and kind of get home to the wife, or, just the schedule was mine. But absolutely, when you have kids, and I would definitely recommend that you take the strong, you want to put them on the front burner. I see a lot of guys out there, and I'll call you guys out. If your kids and your family aren't on the front burner, you don't have my respect. And I get there's situations where maybe, and I don't want to dive too far into this, but the situation's out of your control, absolutely. But if you can control it, then your kids and your family and obligations like that need to come absolutely first. So yes, they have definitely changed my training, how I approach things. Basically what I do is I have my set schedule. As you guys kind of see, it's like Monday, Tuesday, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Thursday, and I have a 4-day split. And that's very open in communication with my family, and I make sure that they know what my training schedule is. And there are times, especially during the summertime or spring break, and even sometimes during school, where we have something to do as a family, prior commitment. And so instead of just saying, well, absolutely not, today's bench day, that's just the way it is. There's been a few times that I can remember and continue to make as I need to, where I'll basically say, well, I'll do it on Sunday. I'll do it on the Tuesday night, or I'll do it after they go to bed. You got to do what you got to do. And absolutely, happy wife, happy life, happy family. You're going to be happy, I promise you. And you're not going to lose anything by switching up your schedule, changing up your priorities a little bit. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about lifting. That's my take on it. Now, you might have a different take, but from anything I've ever seen, anybody I've ever seen, there's always a way to fit everything together. You may have to chip a little bit away from this time of your life, or you might have to not spend so much time at the bar, to hang out with your kids a little bit more, to have a little more gym time, have a little more sleep time. But kind of diving too far into that. But yes, absolutely, training has changed, but I still get my training in. Obviously, I've got 3 kids, and I've got a 13-year-old all the way down to a 4-year-old. And so, yes, I believe that, and I hope that I have enough time for them, that they feel like they have my full undivided attention, and I'm not just worried about training all the time. So that is truly a part of a balanced life. I did write an article for Power Magazine about a year or so ago. It was actually November, December issue. I believe it was the last one in print. You guys can feel free to check that out. If you go over to Slingshot or Mark Bell's Instagram page, you might be able to find a link somewhere. And I have it posted on my Instagram as well. But I did a little article about just how to prioritize different areas of your life. And one of the main things is maybe you shouldn't have so many irons in the fire if you can't balance them. So that might be one of the issues, is if you got too many things going on, something's got to give. In order for you to give, I guess technically 100% into each of those areas, you're going to be pretty burned out and stressed out if you're in 50 different areas of your life. So maybe you just need to kind of consolidate some things. And for me, it's literally just business, training, family, and not in that order. And that's kind of all I deal with. So it's not like I have, traveling over here and business ventures over there, and, having to figure out, social time over here. You kind of just figure out what's important to you and work it into your schedule. But the opposite of it is you could be that guy that literally just goes to the gym all the time and throws everything else away. But you're not gonna have my respect, that's for sure. So, and there's always a way to do it. I don't have all the answers, but I would be happy to share with you guys if you want to just reach out to me personally. I've talked to guys on the phone, email. Not that I have all the answers, but maybe you just need somebody to talk to kind of get some ideas off of. I'm more than happy to help you out. Just reach out and we'll see what we can do. Moving on, next question. So I've got Joshua Allen on Instagram. Have you ever thought of opening a gym? I would be lying if I said that I didn't. But here's the thing, and I don't think gym owners get the respect that they deserve, not from other gym owners, because they all understand. I've never owned a gym, but I have owned a business, and I know what it's like to own a business. There's a lot that goes into it. It's not as simple as just getting a space, throwing a bunch of equipment in there, and having people come and work out. There are so many different aspects, as you guys who have owned gyms, or at least know the struggle. It's a business. Just because you open it doesn't mean they're going to come. It's not the field of dreams. There's so many other gyms out there. There's so much competition. What are you doing that's different than everybody else? So that's the first thing. The second thing is you have to have a space. You have to pay for that space, and that's not cheap. And location is always important. You have to have equipment, which I know gym owners that have spent well into the hundreds of thousands of dollars and even more than that on just equipment. And that's not including the space that they're in and other things, marketing, websites. There's a slew of things that go with any business that if you're running it right, you're going to have to factor in. Now, there's always some shortcuts here and there, but not always. And then, of course, there's marketing it to get members. How many members is it going to take to pay for all that stuff? And a lot of times, gym owners don't make a lot of money. They break even, and they may even just be owning a gym. I know a couple that just own the gym just to have it for the sake of having their own gym to work out in, and their members really just kind of help pay for things, but they don't make a profit that much. So it's literally just for the love of the sport. So if you're thinking about opening a gym and making $1 million, you probably aren't thinking the right way. Not that it's not possible. I mean, you can obviously open a gym and franchise it and go kind of the commercial route, but it's tough. And I personally don't want another job. So my business that web design is successful, and I have plenty of clients that I need to take care of that way. Obviously, I'm doing online coaching and programs. That keeps me busy as well. And the other time is my training and my family. I don't want to add something else in there. So I'm going to be out for the gym business. I would love to support anybody who opens a gym, kind of come by and say hi, work out, test out the equipment, take care of it. That's the other thing is you definitely want to respect anybody's gym as if you were in their own home, because literally they paid for that equipment with their own money. And if you break it, you should fix it. I mean, you should take care of the equipment first and foremost. But so a little bit of tangent there, but no, not going to be the one owning a gym. Sorry about that, you guys. All right, so next question, last question is from YouTube as well. Baby Tanya. And let's see, what did you do to get out of the 400s in deadlifting? So I'm going to give you an answer that has to do with just about any weight and any lift. So the simple answer is, and this applies in most circumstances, is you need to do whatever the lift is and do it well. Do it with good form. You need to work on some accessory work. So because the question's for deadlift, we'll go ahead and use deadlift. And it really doesn't matter the weight. But to get out of 400s, what I did was basically deadlifted submaximal from the 400 level. So let's say, I'm trying to break into the 400s for deadlift. I would be working probably 315 for some reps, 320 for some reps, 330 for some reps, and build up to the point to where I'm actually doing like 365 for reps. You're probably pretty close to 405 at that point, maybe more. Just depends on how you are. Reps do not always equal 1 rep max and vice versa. But and I remember, not taking too much time to get to 405, but the same process is at any level. I remember specifically going into the 500 deadlifts and even further. I remember specifically trying to get 600. Same thing goes for squat. do the actual lift that you're trying to get better at and do it with good form. Don't get injured, and if you do, take care of it, because injuries are going to hold you back. And do the accessory work. Accessory work is really, really important. I don't see enough people talking about accessory work. When I ask them about their training, they always say, oh, I do this for bench, I do this for squat, I do this for deadlift, but they never talk about their accessory work. As you guys have seen in my recaps, 70-80% of my workout time in the gym is done with accessories. I could literally take out probably 5 to 10 minutes of that video, and the rest of it would just be the main lifts. That's 3/4 of that video would be gone. So work on your accessory work on your weaknesses, because that will help you, like your sticking points. Obviously working on my sticking point with bench, and I advocate that to you guys. If you're working on 315 right now on bench, or 225 on bench, or 135, you might be having a sticking point. Work that weakness, it will become a strength, and then you'll be working on a weakness at a different level the next time. You'll be at 405 deadlift, maybe working on your lockout. Then you'll be working on a 455 deadlift, working on your speed off the floor. Just things that will continue to change over time. It's not going to always be the same weakness. If you're doing it right, your strength will become not really a weakness, but it will become weaker than your old weakness is now your new strength. Your old strength is now your new weakest link, and you're always getting better. But that is it for the Q&A section of this video. If you guys want to add in your questions for next week, please drop a comment below. You could definitely reach out to me through other social media forums, and I do that occasionally. Obviously bringing on the Instagram comments and questions that I get from DMs and emails, and even training clients and things like that. I do want to mention, speaking of training clients, I have got a giveaway going on, teamed up with my sponsor Mark Bell and Slingshot, to do an elbow sleeve. As you guys have seen that I wear elbow sleeves and wrist wraps. Now this is primarily for bench, but it definitely can be, I utilize my wrist wraps in squat as well. But anybody who purchases any one of my 24-week bench programs on the website bencholly.com will be entered into a chance to win. I will be doing, anybody who's purchased the program 24-week between June 15th and July 15th, which is actually my birthday. I'll be 39 years old. Excited about that. But it's kind of as a giveaway, I'm going to be doing that drawing live. I'll do it on Instagram. And basically all you got to do is get one of my 24-week bench programs or 24-week full power program, and you'll be entered to win. There's nothing else you need to do. Also have another exciting announcement. Earlier this month, I launched my new bench, 24-week bench 2.0 program. It's very, very similar in approach to the bench 1.0 program. There's definitely some accessory changes, so you're not going to be doing the exact same accessories. This is to give those guys who have done the full 24-week bench program, the 1.0, give them an alternative to use for maybe another 6 months. The main lifts are still pretty much the same. They still have the same approach. I did slightly change up the formula to get things going. It's not really based on percentages, but it is based on almost effort. So you'll see, if you get the program, what I'm talking about. But some people can easily understand that versus like a prescribed weight. And so sometimes that can help. But you definitely want to go on over to bencholly.com and check those out. I still have my 8 and 16-week programs. Those are available. They're just not eligible for the giveaway. But check that out. And in the meantime, if you guys are on Instagram, please check me out over there. Give me a follow at SwimHack. And if you care to get a bench press t-shirt or any of those programs, like I said, bencholly.com. And I will see you guys next week. I'm not sure if we're going to call this week 1 or week 43, but we'll figure it out. You'll figure it out in the thumbnail. I'll put it up there, but we'll have some sort of title for the series going into Boss of Bosses. I don't want to get away from the road to 700 because that's still definitely a thing. If you guys follow me on the road to 2,100 pounds, that was kind of done in sync with this road to 700 pounds while we took a little hiatus. That worked out quite well. But stay tuned, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Definitely like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next week. See ya.